Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a great show? Welcome to the stage, Zane Lamprey!
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I want to say thank you to Golden Road Brewing for having us here tonight. This is my 238th stand-up show at a brewery. And so it only made sense to do the special tonight at a brewery. So again, thank you for having us here. My job is to drink. Thank you. It all started with a show called 3 Sheets, where I traveled the globe sampling the world's libations. And when I started getting recognized for that show, it was weird to me. It's still weird. It's still weird to go out there and just do something silly and then have people say they appreciate it. I love it, but I never get used to it. Like when I was in South Africa once, we had just shot an episode in Cape Town, and I'm at the airport. We're gonna get on a flight to go to Namibia, Africa to shoot an episode there. And this older couple comes up to me and says, excuse me, do you mind if we get a photo? And I was like, no, I don't mind. You guys are so cute. Like, I take their phone and flip it around and take a bunch of pictures, and they're like, pardon me, why are you in our photo? So, I do a show called 3 Sheets. Kind of a big deal. It's on channel 911. And I thought, you know what, just get together. It doesn't really matter. There you go. I think you'll enjoy that. Beat it. And they walk away. And then this younger couple comes up and says, do you mind if we get a picture? And I was like, no, I don't mind, just get together. They're like, no, we want a picture with you. We love 3 Sheets. I was like, oh my God, of course. But first, you have to go tell those old people I'm not crazy. They're like, which old people? I'm like, I don't know. Just start telling old people about me. Come back in like 20 minutes. And now I have a neighbor that like never knew I was on TV until recently. He came across it online, and his name is Doug, and I don't like him. And he doesn't drink, and I don't care. You don't need a drink to be my friend. It's just the fact that he judges other people for drinking. And if I'm being honest, his wife is a bit handsy when she drinks. And so I've resorted to taking the garbage out at like midnight just to avoid this guy. And a few weeks ago, I'm taking the garbage out, and he's just there. He's like, hey, Zane. I'm like, hey, Doug. I gotta start doing this at 1 a.m. He's like, man, I saw your TV show. You sure do drink a lot. Thanks, Doug. He's like, I got a question for you. How many drinks do you think you've had in your lifetime? I don't know, man. All right, let's do the math. Let's figure it out. 2 drinks a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, last 29 years. That's about 20,000 drinks. He's like, oh my God. Zane, do you know if you spend an average of $5 on a drink, that you've spent $100,000 on drinks in your lifetime? Do you know what you can buy for $100,000? I'm like, yeah, Doug, 20,000 drinks. We just did the math. That's amazing. That is a great investment. My house is bigger than yours, Doug. I don't know even what to tell you. And my wife can keep her hands to herself. So, well, what are you getting from? Fucked up, sir. And that's the point. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Hey, Doug. Yeah? At my show tonight, somebody wanted to fuck you. Give me his number. Before I did 3 Sheets, I was a member of the cast of a show called Damage Control. And Damage Control was a spin-off to the show Punk'd. And you guys know what Punk'd was. Punk'd was a hidden camera show about celebrities in public places. And Damage Control was a hidden camera show about regular people in their homes, specifically college-age guys. And I'll tell you how the show worked. The house was outfitted with like 30 hidden cameras. The parents were in on it. They would call their son to college and say, hey, the hot water heater exploded. We have to go to Aunt Nancy's this weekend. You need to come home, stay home, do not leave the house, do not have friends over. The kid comes home, the parents take off. What's the first thing the kid does? Yeah, Exactly, masturbates. At least that's what happened in way too many of the episodes that we shot. One kid just walking around the house doing it. I didn't even know you could do that. That's impressive. Multitasking. Another kid walked in the kitchen and then opened the fridge. That's what got him going. Loves food, loves it. Specifically, a watermelon that he pulled out, carved a hole in, and yeah. No, I'm with you guys. I was like, what? Dude, you didn't even put it in the microwave for 30 seconds to make it all nice and warm? Now, keep in mind, as all this is happening, there's 30 hidden cameras inside the house, all running via cable to the next door neighbor's house that the network had rented and turned into a control room where there's 30 monitors and a team of people, well, not watching the monitors, I guess, at this point. I will look when the weird noises stop. Oh my God. And when it was over, I would go there. I was the first guy in the scene. I was the plumber. And knock on the door, the kids, sir, why is that funny? I can plumb. And so I knock on the door, the kid comes to the door, always nice young men, but I did more hand pounds than handshakes, I think probably for obvious reasons. So they would show me where the hot water heater was, always in the basement. I go down there and they leave me alone. And so I call another plumber friend of mine. He comes over with a case of beer. He helps me. We take it apart. We don't know what we're doing. So we call a few more plumber friends of ours. They show up each with a case of beer. We're down there. We take the whole thing apart. We get hungry. Yeah. So we order pizza from 3 different pizza places. Invite those delivery guys to stay, which they do. We start playing poker, having a great time. Invite over some strippers, some clowns, the group Mini Kiss, which is Mini Kiss. And by the end of the night, there's 35 people in the house, including a knight in shining armor waving around a sword. And that's when the parents burst in the front door. And they're like, Timmy, what is going on here? And he's like, oh my God, Mom, no, it's not me. It's the plumber's friends. I didn't leave the house. They're not my friends. I didn't leave the house. And they're like, don't worry. You're on a new show called Damage Control. It's a hidden camera show. And the kid's like, what? Where are the cameras, Mom? Oh, honey, they're all over. There's 30 hidden cameras all around the house. But don't worry, you're not actually in trouble. And the kid's like, no, I'm actually in trouble. So that show did not get picked up for another season. That's weird. So I go back to joining the ranks of unemployed actors in Hollywood. And it's my birthday, and some buddies come take me out for my birthday. We go to this bar in Hollywood, start having some drinks, and George Clooney walks in the door, and I think he is the coolest. And I got some liquid courage in my veins, so I go over to talk to him. I was like, Mr. Clooney, I just wanted to shake your hand. I think you're amazing. I love your work. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. And I shake his hand. I turn to walk away, but he won't let go of my hand. I was like, what's happening? He's like, hey, man, calm down. What's your name? And I was like, Zane. He goes, Zane. It's a memorable name. What do you do? I'm like, I'm an actor and comedian. He's like, how's it going for you? I was like, it's going great. Probably would go better if people stopped fucking watermelons. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. He's like, nope. He's like, well, you know what, man? You gotta take charge of your career. The only person standing in the way of success is you. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, why are you so nice, you know? And he's like, there's a reason for that. And the reason is this. He said, I didn't make it in my career until I was 33 years old. When I was 33, I got the show ER. My life, my career took off on a different trajectory. Had I gotten that success in my 20s, I probably would have thought that I deserved that success. Now I know nobody deserves the success that I have, so I'm happy for every opportunity that I get. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, thank you. And he's like, how old are you? I was like, 33, this is my 33rd birthday tonight. He's like, you know what? This is your year. And that is the year that I got the show 3 Sheets. All true. So I go off, I shoot the pilot episode, I shoot the first season, I come back, and I go to this house party in Beverly Hills, and I walk in, and George Clooney is there. And I walk over to him, and I said, Mr. Clooney, I don't know if you remember meeting me about a year ago, but you told me to take charge of my career, and I did, and I got my own show, and I just wanted to say thank you. He's like, hey, man, I'm talking to a girl right now. You need to fuck off, dude. What is your problem? Little shit. And I was like, what an asshole this guy is. No, he was amazing. He was amazing. He's like, yeah, man, I remember you. I remember you. I saw this twinkle in your eye. I'm proud of you, Gary. So, probably meant a little bit more to me than it did to him. It started with a pilot. And you guys know what a pilot is. It's a test. It's a test of the premise of the show and the host of the show to see if these things combine to make something amazing. Now, this was the pilot for 3 Sheets that I'm talking about. And it was being shot by a very small production company based out of Seattle, Washington. And they didn't have, welcome. And they didn't have the budget to shoot this international drinking show pilot out of the country. So they flew me up to Seattle to shoot it there in the local Polish community, in a place called Dom Polski, which means Polish house, which was like a normal house, but with more drunk Polish people in it. And I go there, and they had arranged for me to sit down and talk with this guy, this Polish guy who knew a lot about Polish vodka, but the guy didn't show up. And the producers are getting a little nervous, and I said, hey, let me just go and sit and just talk with people. And they were so excited to talk about their customs and their traditions, and for 3 hours, we had so much fun. And at the end, we knew that this was a pilot that was going to get picked up. We were positive. And Mike, the director, he looks at me, and he's like, hey, dude, we're good. That's a wrap. And I was like, that was fantastic. And right at that moment, the guy who was supposed to be there earlier shows up 3 hours late because he'd been drinking the whole time. And he walks in the front door, he's like, hey, where's the drinking guy? I bring the drinks, let's get the party started. And I was like, hey man, we're good, we just shot for 3 hours, like we're all set. He's like, sit fuck down. So I sat down. And the guy walked up to the table in one of those big, puffy ski jackets. You know the kind you wear to Walmart to steal stuff? You know? If you lived in Temecula. It's... Hey. Laugh all you want, they got the best meth. He starts pulling unmarked bottles of booze out of his ski jacket. Full bottles, wrapped in blue painter's tape that had like Polish writing on it. And he put them all on the table, 6 bottles, 2 shot glasses down, pours us 2 shots, na zdrowie. So we drank it. And then we drank the next one, and the next one. It was horrible. It was like turpentine. He called it bathtub vodka. And if you know anything about the distillation process, then you would know that bathtub isn't part of that process. I don't even understand what he was talking about. But we drank every single shot. At the end, we were hammered, and now Mike, the director, is like, okay, now you're done. And the guy looks at me, he's like, hey, I have an idea. You need to come to my cabin. What? Right now? He's like, no, guy, don't be crazy. It's Christmas. You're going to come to my cabin for Christmas time. It's like, okay. Christmas, usually a time of year I spend with friends and family. Not the day that I do sleepovers with strange men I met at the Polish house, but that's just a rule I've always had. He's like, no, guy, hey, no, stop. Very safe. I promise you, very, very safe. I run the mountain. I am in charge of mountain. I am ski patrol. And I was like, okay, but you have to understand that mountain safety wasn't the thing that was holding me back from this holiday that you're planning for the 2 of us, you know? It's more or less you. He's like, well, I don't take no for answers. And I was like, well, then, yeah. Let's do it. Now, at the time, I'm wearing a wireless microphone taped under my shirt. And Mike, the director, he's in the back listening on headphones. So I was like, hey, Mike, be a really fun show to do. but I'd probably have a very difficult time to do this show if I were to get murdered in this fucker's cabin. I need you to bring the car around. I am making a run for it. And Mike, he looks at me, he nods, and he casually walks out of the room. And a minute later, I was like, hey, man, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna use the restroom. He's like, hey, good idea. I'll come with you. Or we could save some activities for the cabin, right? Shh. I just turned and walked out of there. As soon as I'm out of sight, dead sprint for the parking lot. I get outside. I burst open the front doors, get outside expecting Mike to be sitting there revving the engine of his car like I just finished a bank heist. But no, Mike is parked in his car in the corner of the parking lot, car off, lights off, just sitting back, texting somebody. You know, like, but it was a while ago, so he was like, 888-774-226-224-467. Young people, listen. Like, this is our equivalent of walking uphill to school in the snow both ways. Like, we did it. We did it. We did it. We would text people letters using numbers. I don't even remember how it worked. I get in the car, Mike turns it on, turns on the headlights, backs up. As the headlights come around, it reveals Ski Patrol standing there, blocking our way out of the parking lot. And Mike drives the car up to the guy and he goes, what do I do? And I was like, run him over. What are the options here? And the guy comes over and he opens my door. He goes, you promise you come for a Christmas. I'm like, yeah, of course I promise. We were just going to get you presents right now, but you kind of ruined this. I started feeling around for the gas pedal, found it, stepped on the gas, got the fuck out of there. So anyway, Christmas was nice. And then I got the show. I got to go off and shoot 3 sheets. If you've seen any of the shows that I've done and a scene has like stuck in your mind, I'm sure it's not because of where we were drinking or even what we were drinking. It's who we were drinking with. That's what made the show amazing. And that's what makes this show amazing. It's you guys. So thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you. See you at Christmas. When I was in Belgium, I went to this bar called Delirium Cafe, and the bartender he ordered like 10 Belgian beers, and we're drinking. It's amazing. We're having such a good time, and I burped. And he goes like this, and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, you have a good burp, so I go like this. This is, in Belgium, it means good burp. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Then what? Then what happens? He's like, well, you do this, and then the last member of your group has to buy a beer for everyone. I'm like, that is amazing. We took part of their culture and added it to the culture of our show. And anytime we discovered something new, we would add it into our show. And we were in St. Martin, the Caribbean island of St. Martin. Rich people. And St. Martin is a very small island broken up into the Dutch side and the French side. We go to the French side, and we go to this rum bar on the beach. It's after dark, and they'd set up a table on the sand for us with 4 chairs. I sat down with the 3 owners, and we drank all these amazing rum cocktails and all these concoctions. And at some point, I burped, and I didn't think anything of it, and they all went like this, and I was the last one to do it. So they, at the same time, hit me in my face. So hard that they knocked me off my chair onto the sand, and I'm staring up at the stars thinking, I like the Belgian version of this game better. Okay. Sir, you don't have to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. You were the last person to do it. We have 2 choices. Choice A.
Show myself out.
No, you don't. Okay, we have 3 choices then. Option one, you buy a beer for everybody here. Option B is you just kind of like, hey man, I'm having a good time, and we continue on with the show.
Option C, I will show myself.
Okay. Option C. I'm gonna let you know, one time that happened in Mobile, Alabama. Someone from Mobile is here. Most people who live in Mobile never leave Mobile, which is weird because most of their houses have wheels on them. One made it out. He made it out. Yeah. So this kid, he just turned 21. He was at the show, and he was presented with A or B, and he chose A. He went to the bar, threw down his credit card, and bought a beer for everybody. And it cost him $450. And people were so impressed by him and kind of felt bad for him that at the end of the night, everyone gave money to this kid, and he left with $800. Now, the point is, sir, is you used to be that kid. You used to be a little reckless, but now you're safe. And the way you're staring at me makes me feel like I'm gonna continue on with my show. When I was in Tequila, Mexico. We're drinking tequila. And there was this guy in the corner, and he was like staring at us, and I didn't know what he was trying to do. He was kind of scary. And at some point, he comes over to us. He's like, yo, dude. He's like, what's your show about, man? You think you can outdrink everybody? I was like, nope. He's like, because I bet I can outdrink you, dude. I'm like, okay. He's like, I bet I can chug a pint of tequila faster than you. And I was like, you first. And he did it. He did it. Came back with a pint of tequila, chugged the whole thing, and he's like, ¿Qué pasó? And then he went and passoed out on the bathroom floor, so. When I was in Wales, I went to Wales, and they have one of the oldest pub crawls in the world called the Mumbles Mile. And we went there to do this pub crawl for 3 sheets, and we're halfway through the crawl, and I see this elderly woman standing on the street in this very colorful regalia, holding a bucket, collecting money for charity. And everyone is just kind of avoiding her. They're going around her, and I'm like, that's so mean. Like, so I take $20 and I put it in her bucket. And if you guys have ever been to Wales, they're very difficult to understand. She was like, ooh. And I walk up, and I put $20 in her bucket, and she goes, right on ya, and she goes in to grab my dick. That's why people were avoiding her. But it happened so quick, I didn't have time to move my feet. I just kind of got my business out of the way. Like, she reached in, and I moved back, and she kept coming in. Every time she came in, I just went to a different, like, I just kind of like, what? You got, no, whoa, no, stop it. What is your, lady? I was like one of those toys, you push the bottom and they crumble and then they let go like this. And then at some point I just walked away. And I get to Kyoto, Japan. And I'm at a sake bar, and there's a group of guys getting rowdy next to our table, and eventually they found their way over to our table, and one of the guys, I know this look, he was a crotch grabber. And he comes up to me, and he comes right in, he just kind of went for it. I'm like, nope, and I turned around, no, I'm not gonna fall for that one. And then he walks away, and he comes up again, I'm like, no, hey buddy, stop it. And then, oh God, he disappeared. I don't know where he is. And he just popped up in the corner of the room, and he started walking towards me. I'm like, I can't live my life in fear. I gotta deal with this situation right now, and I took a risk. And when he was about 6 feet from me, I put my hands on my hips, and I said, brother, when you grab it, you don't let go. And he was like, no. And I was like, I got somebody for you to meet. She's in Wales. And I was thinking about, like, what's the conversation they would have if they got together? Because he'd be like, hello. And she'd be like, oh. Oh, you guys are amazing. Okay, we've established that I drink a lot. Therefore, I get a lot of hangovers. But when I was in Champagne, France, they told me, oh, you can drink as much as you want. Champagne will not give you hangover. And I was like, that's bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we bailed them out of World War II and stormed the beaches of Normandy. Well, we didn't do it, but, you know. And then they promised us that they would lie to us and never wear deodorant. And they're doing it. No, they're doing it. I don't know. These are jokes. If there's anybody here from France, you smell, and people know it. It's fine. It's fine. But I started to think about it like, hey, you know what? I've never just drank champagne. I've had it at weddings, I've had it at New Year's Eve, but I've always mixed it, you know, with shots and beer and marijuana. So I never really knew where the hangover was coming from. So I said, let's do it, let's try it out. And so I said to our producer, she was a producer for only the first 4 episodes, and, well, for reasons you'll understand in a little bit. So for the purposes of the story, I'm gonna call her Tiffany, because that's what her parents named her, and, well, fuck her. And so I said, Tiffany, can you arrange it so the last bar we go to, I can sit down and drink a lot of champagne with someone to see if we get a hangover? She's like, done. We go to the last location, to this place called Café du Palais, which was a beautiful champagne bar in the middle of the Champagne region. And we walk in the front door, and the woman that I'll be drinking champagne with stands up and walks over to us, and that's when I surmise that she's about 8.5 months pregnant. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna drink a lot of champagne with somebody to see if we get hangovers, but obviously we got our lines crossed because, you know, we can't, you and I can't do that because of your condition. And she's like, my condition? And it's like, oh my God, I hope you're pregnant. And she's like, oh, of course I am pregnant. I'm as big as a house, but, oh, I see. Listen, this is not America, this is France. It is no big deal, I can drink as much as I want, it's no problem. I was like, well, yeah, but this show airs in America, and also science. She sits down, insisted on it, so we sit down and we drink a glass of champagne and talk for 5 minutes, and that was it. She got up to leave, presumably to go give birth. And I turned to Jean-Francois, who's the owner of Café du Palais, and I said, Jean-Francois, we didn't even record that, and we still need to sit down and talk with someone to feature your beautiful champagne bar. We need to talk with someone who speaks English and who knows about champagne. He's like, oh, yeah. Pardon-moi, but this is, I can see that you are in a predicament because, you know, I'm racking my brain right now to think about someone else who speaks English, and I don't know that I know anyone else who speaks English. That's English. You do it. Just sit down, we'll have 1 glass of champagne. He's like, me? I cannot do this. You are crazy. What? People would not understand me. My accent is very, very strong. And besides, I often confuse my prepositions, and many of my expressions are very outdated. Are you arguing with me in English? Why? You can't just talk to me in English. What's happening? Sit down. So he's fine. He sits down, and I ordered 3 bottles of champagne. A bottle of the house champagne, Champagne du Palais. A bottle of Moet, which I learned is how that's pronounced, and a $450 bottle of Cristal because the production company was paying for it. And we start to drink. Well, I'm drinking. The thing is, he wasn't. And I was like, look, you don't need to get drunk. I got that covered. but just be part of this experience. But he wouldn't do it. He was so nervous about drinking and speaking English. And so I decided we would play a drinking game. That's the best way we could get this going. And the easiest drinking game I can think of was quarters. So I found a shot glass. Couldn't find a quarter, it was France. Where are you gonna find a quarter in France? They have coins, it's actually not that big of a deal. And so he said, all you do is you line up the shot glass, and you take the coin, you bounce it off the table, it goes in the shot glass, and I'll drink it. He's like, oh, this is very easy. I'm like, yeah, I picked the easiest game I could. So he lines it up, ding, it goes off the side. That's fine. Sometimes it takes a few tries. Ding, I'm trying to go, ding, ding, ding. 29 times in a row, he missed. I told him it's normal. It's not. The French are not known for their athletic prowess, let's be honest. But on the 30th time, he finally gets it in. Boom, he's like, oh, sacre bleu, which means sacred blue. I don't know why they say it. And I chug what is now a warm glass of champagne. Oh my God. Now it's my turn. I get the shot glass, I get the coin, I line it up, and I went to college. A state school. For 5.5 years. Because of drinking games. So I line it up, I bounce it, it goes right in. He's like, oh, what do I do? I'm like, you have to chug the champagne. He's like, the whole thing? I'm like, yeah, the whole thing, that's the game we're playing. He's like, I could not chug champagne in my country, this is a crime. So this is all happening in the back of the room. Tiffany and Mike are watching this unfold, and Tiffany takes off her headphones and throws them on Mike's lap and walks over to us, and Mike grabs her and says, what are you doing? She's like, I'm gonna go tell John Francis he does not need to chug the champagne. And Mike's like, why? She's like, because that's not what the show's about. And Mike's like, that's what the show's about. You guys didn't show up tonight hoping you'd learn interesting facts about tequila. No. My job is to make you guys laugh and forget about the bullshit of life for a while. If you learned anything from any of the shows that I've done, that is a mistake. I apologize. Most of that shit we made up, yeah. And I got a hangover. I have found that there is a direct correlation between the severity of the hangover and the amount of alcohol that I've had the night before. That's it. It's not scientific, but I'm standing by it. While I was shooting 3 Sheets, we were shooting an episode in New York City. And after we shot the show, I was at this bar, and Mark Cuban was there, billionaire Mark Cuban. And he told me that 3 Sheets was one of his favorite shows. And he wishes that he had 3 Sheets on his network. He had a network called HDNet at the time. And so when the network that 3 Sheets was on went off the air, I called up Mark Cuban and said, hey, let's make a domestic version of 3 Sheets. We'll shoot it just in the US. We'll call it Drinking Made Easy. He's like, I'm in. And I was like, oh, I had a PowerPoint presentation prepared. Well, let's just do it. And we shot 60 episodes around the country, and one episode that I was so excited to shoot was in Savannah, Georgia. Who's been to Savannah, Georgia? Who's been to New Orleans? Yeah. Savannah, Georgia is one of the country's oldest cities, and it's like New Orleans, but with less poop on the street. And we pulled our production vans up to the hotel we're staying at. Now, we're staying in this hotel for 4 nights. We're also shooting in this hotel for the very last scene that we're shooting for Drinking Made Easy. So we pull the vans up to the hotel, start putting all of our luggage in a pile in the middle of the lobby, all of our cases, all of our gear, and the manager comes over to us. He's like, what y'all doing? It's like, oh, we're just making a pile, and then we'll check in and, put everything. He's like, no, man, put it all down, put it all down. I'm gonna have the valet park your vehicles. I'm gonna have the bellhops bring all your luggage, all the key cards to your room. I'm gonna take y'all to the bar. Looks like you could use a drink. So we're like, dropped our luggage. Follow this guy. We all crammed in the elevator. He pressed R, and the doors close. Goes all the way up to the top, to their rooftop bar called Rocks on the Roof. And the doors open. And it is a beautiful, deep orange sky. It is the summer. It is hot. It is humid. On one side of the hotel, you got the Savannah River with all the boats going by, and the other side, you have Old Town Savannah. He's like, yeah, this is it. I'm like, this is beautiful. He's like, yeah, man, this is where I work. This is where I live. Oh, let me get them drinks. Hey, let me get these guys around SoCo, some soda comfort shots for them. Yeah. Oh, and you have them lemon drops. What is it with the vodka and the lemon, the sugar on the rim? Oh, and then can we bring us some of them tequila oyster shooters with, like, can we pace ourselves for a second? We've been here for 15 seconds. You've ordered 3 rounds of shots. I don't know about you guys, but I like to think of shots as like the super highway to that little town of regret. And we'll get there. Now, we'll get there in a second. And we drank with this guy from sunset until the bar closed at 2 in the morning. At 2 in the morning, we go down to our hotel room. Now, my wife, Mel, she's a producer of the show. A lot of people know my wife, Mel. She rescues the animals. She's produced our shows. Mel, I think because we all drank the same amount of shots, but Mel weighs less than the rest of, I don't know, I'm just trying to justify how drunk my wife was. Because we get in the room and she does what is either kung fu or parkour, I'm not sure. She jumps on the bed and then she spins around in the air, lands on my shoulders, and then doesn't fall off because she holds on by my hair, and then she screams, "Chicken!" And then Tad, the sound guy, he hears this. He jumps on Josh, the camera guy's shoulders, and then Tad and Mel start to fight each other. Chicken, usually a game played by children. In swimming pools, in the summer, in the daytime, not drunk adults in a hotel room at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, my buddy Steve McKenna, he's an idiot. He hears her playing chicken. He starts running around the room. He starts running around the room like a chicken. Jumping from bed to bed, and then he bangs into a lamp and knocks it over. I back up. The painting falls on the ground, and then there's a knock on the door. And I go and answer the door with my wife on my shoulders. And I'm like, yeah. And it was the manager. He's like, hey, y'all want more shots? And he was holding a tray that held as many shots as the tray will hold, and we drank until 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 in the morning. Which wouldn't have been that big of a deal, except for the fact that we had to shoot at 8 in the morning. So I set my alarm for 7:30. The alarm goes off. I wake up. I am laying on the floor of the bedroom in my clothes. I feel like I got hit by a train. My wife, she passed out on top of the covers in the bed. Tad, the sound guy, passed out, wrapped around the toilet, naked. Never got that full story. And right at this moment, Steve McKenna bursts in the room. He's like, hey, I got scones and coffee. It's a beautiful day in downtown Savannah. Let's have a great day today. It's fun. It's beautiful out there. I'm like, dude, weren't you a fucking chicken like 3 hours ago? What is this sorcery? I said to my wife, honey, you gotta call and cancel this first shoot. She's like, Zane, I'm not gonna cancel a drinking shoot because we drank too much. Keep in mind that we're a drinking show. Like, we know who we are. Our earliest call time is usually noon. But we are going to a very popular breakfast place in Savannah, Georgia that opens at 9. So we have to be there at 8 to shoot before all the tourists get there. We were going to Paula Deen's restaurant to shoot with her son, Chef Bobby Dean. And if you don't know who Bobby Dean is, he's like the least racist of the Dean family. And yeah, no, he was great. He showed up in like normal face. And we show up a little late, and Bobby was arriving at the same time. I'm like, Chef Bobby, I'm sorry we're late. We drank till 5 in the morning. We got hangovers. We actually tried to cancel. He's like, me too. He's like, but y'all don't got hangovers. What y'all got's called the Savannah flu. Lucky for you, we got a cure for it. It's called a mint julep. Come on inside. And we went inside, and we had 3 mint juleps, and we were right as rain. And that's the moral of the story, is that if you don't stop drinking, you're not gonna get a hangover. That's it, yeah. You'll die, but not from a hangover. All right, let's say that tomorrow is a work day. It's a school day. You guys get a hangover. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to combat your hangover? Yes.
Magnesium.
Magnesium?
No.
You saying no? You're just saying no? Do you know her? Oh, I wish you didn't. That'd be even better. What? Wait, are you saying that you wouldn't do that, or she wouldn't do that? She wouldn't do that. Yeah, don't. Yeah. No, you're not gonna be like, oh my God, this is the worst hangover. Somebody give me magnesium. I'm gonna call bullshit. Is that what you're saying? Bullshit? What's she gonna do?
I'm bullshit because I've been with her when we're hungover.
Okay, and what does she do?
Keep drinking.
Go keep drinking. That's it. Thank you. What else? Who else? Who else I got one? Yes. If you have a hangover tomorrow, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if you have a hangover? Whiskey. So like hair of the dog. I don't know if I want to live in a world where the cure for drinking too much tequila is to drink more tequila. What do you do? I'm a CPA. A CPA? Oh, dude, we need you for April, so it's fine. And only 2 weeks of it, so we don't. You're fine. You can be drunk. What are you gonna do? What the fuck just happened? Are you enjoying your visit from Wales? What the fuck? Yes, right there.
Breakfast burrito.
You know, it might help that. A little bit of cocaine from that guy. That'll wake you up. And magnesium. By the way, she's been doing cocaine for 10 years, and they're like, it's magnesium. I just snort a little magnesium, Zane, and I'm energized. Yes, you have one? What are you gonna do if you have a hangover tomorrow?
Put on a movie.
Put on a movie.
Because I am a teacher.
Because you... And the cat's out of the bag. Honey, what'd you do at school today? Oh, we watched a movie. If Heather is drunk again, God damn it, give me her number. I want to party with her. Yes, please.
A hot bowl of soup, like menudo or pozole.
Menudo or pisole. That's it. People say you can sweat out a hangover. When I was in Mexico, I had something called tortas ahogadas, drunken sandwich. And it's a regular sandwich in this bowl of hot, spicy sauce. You sop the whole thing up, and I ate the entire sandwich. That's the first time I ever had to run to the bathroom to do a number 5. They call it El Cinco, which is where I did it. When I was in Thailand, I had something called drunken noodles to get rid of my hangover. But look, there's no alcohol in it. It's just a very spicy, noodly dish. You get it from a street vendor, and there's one guy, and he's been doing it for 40 years. And we waited in line and got it, and it was amazing. It was a great way to alleviate your hangover symptoms, and a fantastic way to get amoebic dysentery the next day on the 12-hour flight to the Czech Republic. Yeah. It hit me at about hour 2 of this flight. I went to the bathroom somewhere between 7 and 38 times. Yeah. I did. I was like, and I had a window seat. I was like, yeah, I would be like, sit down and be like, oh, like, I gotta go again. Yeah, I don't have to go again. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna go for safety. This doesn't count. I'm just gonna sit down. This is horrible. It was the worst flight of my life. And when we landed, the producers saw my face. They're like, I was so gaunt. I was so dehydrated. They're like, we're not taking you to the hotel. We're taking you to the hospital. And they did. They took me to the hospital. I was admitted into the hospital and got 2 IV bags of saline water and vitamins and antibiotics. Had to spend the entire night in the hospital. The next morning, they picked me up and brought me to the bar. Just keep going. Keep going. And then the hangover remedy in the Czech Republic was to go to a spa that is right next to a brewery. And they had a pipe coming right from the brewery, right from the brew tank, right into the spa, a spigot. They turn it, fill the tub with hot beer. And you just slide into this bathtub, you soak in the hot beer, and they bring you a cold beer to drink, and it was amazing. It was a great way to alleviate your aches and pains, and a fantastic way to get a yeast infection. The next day when I arrived in Venice, Italy. But imagine like going to this ancient Italian island city trying to find Monostat 7. It wasn't like easy. Monostato 7. I don't know what they called it. And then I realized when I landed there that I left my monkey in that bath of beer. I did. And I had him FedEx to me. And so the actual hangover remedy in Venice, Italy, was to be reunited with my monkey, Pleplius. Who aimed for my nuts? What is wrong with you? Good shot. And when I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, I told that story. And this guy comes up to me after the show. He's like, dude, great set. I'm like, thank you. And he goes in for a ham pound. He's like, dude, uncircumcised. I'm like, what? What are you talking? At what point during my set did I talk about that? He's like, yeah, because the Monostat 7. I'm like, dude, I don't understand what you're saying. He's like, yeah, sometimes you get cheese under your sheath. I'm like, dude, you just took what are two really cool words and ruined them for me. Cheese? I love cheese. Cheese is amazing. Sheath? That's where you keep a sword in. A sheath? Please don't ever say that to me ever again. I got a lot of hangovers during the pandemic. Like, I drank a lot. There wasn't a lot to do. Then I was kind of realizing that you could always order food from your phone, but during the pandemic, they changed the system that the person would just leave the food at your door and you didn't have to talk to anybody. It's like the Jetsons. You'd be like, burrito. Ding. What? Some time had passed, but don't worry about that. Cheeseburger, French fries. Ding. Oh, wow, this is amazing. Pizza, cake. So I got fat. I think that's pretty clear as to what's happening. And at one point, my wife is like, you're heavy. And so I got off of her. And I marched right into the bathroom, and I got on the scale, and it said 218. This is true. It said 218 pounds. And every guy in here knows exactly what I was thinking. 218? We can do 220. We got this. We got this. Cake, burrito, pizza, beer. Done. Ding, 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 ding. I did it. I got up to 221 pounds, and then I was like, now I got to lose it. We set the benchmark pretty high. Now we got to take it off. So I start working out, and my wife buys me a massage gun. And the idea of the massage gun is that if you use a massage gun, it'll like break down the lactic acid, and it cuts your recovery time in half. And so after a workout, I'm doing this on my arm, and I was like, this feels amazing. But if it feels this good on my arm, it probably would feel incredible on my balls. But before I tell you what happened, let me explain sort of the evolution and the technology of the massage gun. Because years ago, it was just these little vibrating things. They didn't do much. And they discovered you need to have something that, like, it penetrates the muscle. So the modern massage gun is like a rod with a ball in the end. It shoots back and forth 30 times a second. Like that's so fast. So when I touch this thing to my testicle for half a second, I managed to punch myself in the balls 15 times. Like a little mouse on a speed bag. It happened so fast. It was like, and I was like, woo! And I pancaked like a starfish laying in the middle of the living room. And my wife, she runs in. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, what happened was I tripped on the massage gun, hon. You can't leave that there. People are going to trip on that. What's wrong with you? She's like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Where are your pants? During the pandemic, I drank good stuff. I wasn't drinking to like impress anybody, so I had things that I liked. I started thinking about like things that I don't like some bad shots that I've had. What's the worst shot you've ever had? Yes.
Cement mixer.
Cement mixer. This is a great one to start with. A cement mixer is a shot of Bailey's and lemon juice. You do the shot, you hold it in your mouth until it congeals, and then you chew it and swallow it. That's bad. What's your name?
Vince.
Vince, what's the worst shot you've ever had?
Malibu and
You stop right there. That's fine. You got me. Malibu mixed with what?
wild turkey.
Wild turkey. Do you know the name of it? Mistake.
It was a mistake.
Mistake in a glass, yeah. What else? At the bar.
Something called Malort.
Malort is a very herbaceous spirit, kind of like Fernet or Jägermeister, invented in the 1930s in Chicago by a Swedish man. Now it's made in Florida, but Chicago has adopted it as their national spirit. Chicago, not a nation. They don't care. They're not. It's Chicago. And so if you go visit someone in Chicago, they will make you do a shot of a Jepson's Malort. That's it. So when they come visit you here, you have them do the Huntington Beach tapeworm shot. And what that is a shot of tequila with squirt mayonnaise in it. Makes a white worm, and you do it. And if they're assholes, stir it up first. How about this? You ever had a Mexican prairie fire? That is half Cholula, half tequila, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. The Jersey Turnpike. You ever had that? The Jersey Turnpike is the bar mat shot. It's the bar mat that the bartender makes the drinks over all night, and then you tilt it and you pour it into a shot and do that. And then Buffalo Sweat. Buffalo Sweat is the bar rag shot. Disgusting. One of the worst shots I've ever had is a scorpion shot. And I had it in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at a bar called Bad Genie. And it's a shot of rum where they put a dead scorpion inside it. And then you do the shot. And the bartender poured one, I did it. He poured another one, I did that. He poured a third one, I did that. They were getting progressively easier. And I said to him, what's the most scorpion shots anyone has ever done in a night? And he said, 4. So I did 23. Yeah. Well, I did 10 shots. I did 23 scorpions. I just kept putting more and more scorpions in the glass. And at the end, it was a shot glass with 5 scorpions just jammed in it. And I did the shot, and I chewed them, swallowed them. And it was rough. It was rough. Probably what was more rough was the next morning, because the human body is not designed to digest exoskeletons. You know what I mean? They just came out like a barrel of monkeys all hooked together. And then they hit the ground and they just ran away like, hey, you gotta take charge of your life. There you go, good job, buddy. But the worst shot I've ever had was Viper rum. And I'll tell you how they make it. They take an empty bottle and they take a live snake and put it inside the bottle, fill the bottle with rum, cap it off. The snake dies, it's very horrible, shits his pants. Well, guys, the snake's not wearing pants. Is that what you're getting hung up on? What? Zane, you found a snake with pants and you killed him? He might have been going someplace special like church. Yes, it was. It was a snake, and he had on a leg warmer and a belt buckle and a top hat and a monocle, which I thought the monocle was probably the weirdest part of the whole thing. Covered in shit because he died. Okay, so they take it and they write the date on the bottle, and they take the bottle and put it on the back of the bar where it sits for a full year before they'll touch it again. And I go down to Belize, and they take one of these bottles off the back of the bar, open it up, pour me a shot, and I drank it. And it was horrible. It tasted like a dead snake smells. And I said to the bartenders, why do we do that? And she's like, oh, it's an aphrodisiac. And I was like, oh, guys don't need aphrodisiacs. Like, you walk up to a guy waiting at the bus stop and blowing his ear, He'll be like, I'll fuck it. What do I need to fuck? What is it? What? I will fuck it. What? And then a woman, when she's not in the mood, she's not in the mood. And a shot of rum with snake shit floating in it, it's not gonna change your mind. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Kevin, no, stop it. No, I don't, I'm not in the mood. I don't want to do it. What? Stop it, go away. What? What is that? Kevin, what is that? Viper rum? You're naughty. Jeez. Jeez, Jeez, hot in here. Was she wearing a banana? I don't even know how to do this. I don't know. This is the bottle that I drank out of. This is the bottle. You can see that there's a dead snake in it, and if you look closely enough, you will see shit floating in it. And we are apparently going to drink it.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.